gonna be game 2 is going in. I know the ban from Loops here.
Yeah, never want to give the Hano to Impunity. He's an absolutely scary player to put his hands on. Is black on the Hano. They sometimes even play on a Clash, so very flexible hero. Loops takes Hano out of their hands, and Impunity will ban out the Mai as well as the Luna on their side.
Yes, initial bans. We're gonna see, like, again, it's just initial. Okay, or the Arlie ban. Okay, Loops is like, okay, we don't want Impunity to run that one. I don't think it was the greatest in the last game, but it's respect. Maybe you just don't want to deal with it because they did have to counter pick it. But Ashing, it works for the Dahlia. Okay, we've seen that time and time again though.
Yep, Dahlia openings, especially when she's let through to the ban, is always something that you can always pick in, but that also leaves the Lady Zen in the pool here for Loops if they want to pick up in the first and the second of their draft. So just keeping things open for themselves. Maybe they pick up the Elaine here. Elaine hasn't really been the focus across both these teams, but they do pick up the Lady Zen. They pick up the Zhang Fei, who was the MVP in the previous game. Minty definitely had a great game for that, and when you pair that up with the Lady Zen, that's a lot of team fight on the side of Loops.
Oh, a lot of team fights. And I mean, Mithy is just an all-star on the hero, right? It doesn't really, like, it's difficult to deal with, even, like, to counter pick him. I don't think you go that far, right? But you have to understand where he's going to be at any moment. And Loops, you know, Mithy on the Zhang Fei can just pounce on you and just make your life miserable.
Yep, absolutely. It's the strength of the Zhang Fei. He doesn't look like he deals a lot of damage, but when he gets to the backline, when he pops his ultimate, that's when you know that why Zhang Fei is an absolute beast here. Lady Sun makes her debut today. We've been seeing a lot of Lady Sun throughout the group stage. Kind of have got quieter towards the later stages of the group stage, but Loops will pick her up once again.
Yeah, and late game monster, Lady Sun, we know that just a lot of potential. I feel like Impunity here picked the Princess Frost. And I always look at this as like a poor woman's Lady Jeanne. Like, she's just not as good in a lot of the different things. And I feel like she needs a little bit of a buff in that sense. But Lady Jeanne is just so strong. That's why, right? So it's going to be the mid lane here to counter the Lady Jeanne. I'm not a huge fan of it, but, you know, they're probably much better than I at playing her.
It's funny because in Season 1, we said Lady Jeanne is the poor man's Princess Frost. So how the turntables after a single season, how things have changed in this entire scenario. But Loops banning out the Guan Yu and the Dharma. So banning out very aggressive Clash laners, and they're probably going to pick up a strong Clash laner on their own. So something like a Byron, something like a lane. It will be the lane being decided here for the side of Loops to make sure that they win that Clash lane.
Yeah, I like it. Elaine, I mean, you have that mobility, you have that, technically that meteor kill if you're able to kind of launch him up. And if you can get on the Marco Polo, he's going to have a rough time, especially if Elaine is able to kind of just control him. So you have a lot of options, and the mobility is key, of course. And it kind of rounds out with the Zhang Fei, who's somewhat tanky, and Elaine doesn't want to be focused on, right? So Zhang Fei kind of wants to be that guy. So it kind of rounds out that draft pretty nicely.
Yeah, I think Loops definitely looking like it is a very good draft in my opinion. Impunity not doing too bad themselves, kind of missing a more tankier front line. They do have the Kaiser to run in that role, but as time and time has shown, if you shut down the Kaiser in the jungle, he doesn't provide a lot in those team fights. So Zhang Fei already picked up there by Loops. They just need another aggressive jungler on their side to be able to make those early game invades, and I think Loops should have this game as long as it's something like a Zilong, even a Prince of Lanling can come out here. They go for the Jing, and yeah, it's another aggressive one that looks really good in this fight. I mean, again, Jing against Marco Polo, Princess Frost, and Dolia, she's gonna have a field day against these three heroes.
Oh my gosh, I love Loops' draft right now. I think it's very meta. I mean, Lady Jeanne, most picked, we've already talked about. Elaine, number 3 most picked. Jing, a little bit less, but has a 63% win rate with 8 games. What else can you ask for? And then you put Mithy on the Zhang Fei, and things are looking very good for Loops. I feel like Impunity's lineup, a lot more difficult to play, somewhat squishier. They need to get the right initiations, the right team fights. They cannot be making the same mistakes they made in game 1.
Absolutely not. It's the first game. I mean, we talked about Impunity had the easier to execute lineup and they still lost. Game number 2, Loops has the easier to execute lineup, and they seem to have an answer to everything that Impunity has drafted for this game. So are we in for a quick series again here, Holler, or can Impunity prove us wrong?
Don't jinx it, man. I want to see this go the distance. I mean, it really comes down to Impunity. They really need to bounce back. Being down 0-2 is almost a chasm that you cannot climb out of. You're going to have a tough time. They need to ensure that they have a good early to mid game to kind of just control them, to give themselves a chance in this series.
Absolutely. And here, you know, just for the viewers who are not very familiar with Elaine, why this hero is so strong is that he doesn't need any mana. He's very sustainable in the lane. His mobility is top-notch as well, so he's able to get in and out of dangerous situations. And when he gets to that 12-minute mark, his combinations of damage and as well as sustainability towards the backline is just so hard to deal with that he is the most popular Clash laner in this Season 2 Invitational.
Very popular. There's just so much potential outplay, right? Has a get out of jail free card if you're using him properly. Just a lot of different ways to kind of, you know, dictate how the team fight goes, right? And a lot of the static heroes like Angela really get punished for going up against another lane. So you have a lot of options.
Absolutely. And top is going to be where both teams are putting a lot of pressure. Oh, Jing in some trouble. Pops the ultimate, trying to heal up the best he can. 2 versus 3 fight. But ABH looks like he's still alive for now. So is Elaine. Elaine hasn't even used his ultimate yet. So he can still get out of that situation. But the rotations came in vain from both sides. Nobody got any kills. So it's going to be slowing down for now.
I always find it funny when you see a Jing like that. ABH obviously understanding how to pilot the Jing properly with the mirror domain, but I always feel like he's just spamming the button. He doesn't know where he is.
He's just panicking and just
like,
spamming.
Yeah, he's just panicking. Yeah, it's just like, just try to find me because I don't know where I am either.
It probably looks good on the stream. And he's like, all right, I saw someone do this before. Nah, but he probably knows. He probably knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's a pro player. He's not just talking about it. All right, but Loops here. Okay, they have a slight edge. They've been kind of prioritizing the top lane a bit. Impunity have been just trying to counter that, realizing that Tempest could have a bit of a good lane. So Ajing is kind of pushing into the mid lane here, just putting a little bit of pressure. But again, I think the tail of the tape of this, or the story for this one, will really come down to the bottom lane. This Shaolin Marco Polo or the Sherry Lady Soon, who's going to come out on top?
It's not much Q potential until they start really moving the Charlotte or the Kaiser downwards along with the Princess Frost to try and get a kill on the Lady Sun. On the other side, it's pretty much the same as well, but they probably can just move the Jing. Jing can really stick towards the Marco Polo to try and burst him down, get a kill. But the Dulia is always going to be an issue. The knockbacks are annoying, they heals as well. So we're looking at a rather passive early laning stage until the 4-minute mark when they're trying to take the first objective around the map. But outside of that, I'm not expecting any kills going on either way unless somebody walks into the Dolia and tries to pop the ultimate. Nope, looks like ABH will be happy to let her go.
Yeah, but look at Black all the way invading it, as well as the Ashing just cutting the waves, forcing Tempest to have a little bit more of an awkward going. He's forced to kind of farm under the tower or tank it, and just kind of pushing that a little bit of pressure in that lane, while the rest of them, Ashing and Black, then go and invade the enemy jungle, taking what they can. So Impunity coming out with a different, strategy going into game 2.
Yeah, definitely favorable trade for Impunity. They're farming on 2 sides, they're farming on 2 heroes, while Tempest is having to trade his HP for farm and experience. So Impunity much better early game compared to the last. They are still behind by 1,000 gold though.
Still behind, but I mean, they still need to figure out ways to get back in. Impunity at least putting pressure so that Loops is showing on the map. I think the scariest thing is not knowing where they are. Like ABH all of a sudden disappeared off the map. Where is he? He's actually trying to steal your Azure Golem. He's looking to go for the smite, and he does take it out.
That's a big steal, taking it away from Kaiser. The Kaiser's not going to want to take a fight in the next upcoming few seconds. Lots of damage being dealt towards X0. He's not falling though. Able to use the flash towards safety. Kaiser rotates towards the mid to try and cut off towards Kank, but the ABH will also show his face there just to scare him off.
Yeah, just to scare him off, and he's gonna X0 will have to recall back home. Loops have done a great job of just pushing him out of the lane. Sometimes it's, you know, you don't have to kill the guy.
Yep.
You just make him scared, and life again is like a resource. So he needs to recall back, and that's gonna take time away from him. And if you're looking at this XP differential, X0 is level 6, Kank is level 7, so it's already paying dividends.
Yep, absolutely. It's never about the kills most of the time. And here, ABH 1 versus 3, trying to go for a kill towards the Princess Frost. Gas the kill. Here comes
the
Zhang Fei.
unbridled outburst. Oh, he was sick. He did push him away, but no, ABH does go down in the end. Oh, I thought Mithy had this save with the unbridled outburst. They're pushing him away. Oh, but Mithy now, he leaping saviors back under tower. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade.
Marksman for the jungle for the mid. Not a good trade there for Loops. That also means that this Tyrant is in danger. Does Mithy has the smite? Yes, he does, but he's not going to try and go for it, as Black will secure it with his own smite. And that gives Impunity a way back to this game. They got a better trade-off in terms of kill. They also got the first Tyrant. But top lane...
What? Shaolin
Lady Sun
dies to Sherry?
That's not... You're not expecting either of the marksmen to die to each other. They've got mobility, they got ways to escape, but somehow Shaolin got a kill with full HP left, so...
Oh, that is a disaster at this point. Sherry will continue to farm. That net worth lead is starting to grow. It's about 500 already. He's starting to kind of separate himself from Shaolin, putting pressure in. Shaolin doing the walk of shame all the way back to the bottom T2, but he's going to walk into 4-member of Loops, who uses the unbridled outburst to push him away, the flowing sigh, and he jumps right in. The nice knockup from Ashin, keeping him alive, but ABH thought about going, and he does. He gets the mirror domain, and he slices and dices, and I don't know which one is real.
Really fast kill there, but they at least are able to slow them down to dissuade them from taking the bottom tier 3 tower. If the bottom tier 3 tower fell in 7 minutes, that would be an absolute disaster here for the side of Impunity. But they managed to hold on. It's still a 2,000 net worth lead for the side of Loops. Not insurmountable, not huge. And after they get this top tier 1 tower, it should even out a little bit more. But looks like no more pressure coming in from Impunity on the top.
Yeah, no more pressure, because I mean they don't have that top T1, right? The bottom T2 has been taken as well, and Loops can kind of dictate whatever fight they want. They've taken X-Hero as well, and ABH has started this style. Like Impunity, all they can do is watch as their teammates die and just try to attack them, but Loops just get in and out like a guerrilla squad.
Apt for a team with a Zhang Fei pick. Here, Zero will be able to get the top tier 2 tower and also get the Sage Golden buff away from the side of Loops, from the side of Impunity once again. This Kaiser is suffering without those jungle buffs. 4 heroes here to secure it. This Kaiser's not going to get that cooldown reduction anytime soon.
Oh, that's sad. That's tough. ABH going in yet again. The mirror domain. They've got the knockup onto Black. Black trying to get out of this domain. Tempest is now joined the fight. Gets the meteor kill. Knocks him up. But Tempest gets a little bit low. The death at sunset. Oh, he gets back to safety. And he gets pushed back Shaolin with the Resplendent Revolver. Not going to do enough.
Couldn't really commit for that kill. He was a bit too low and had to back off. But Kaiser a lot more tankier than we'd expected. He's not the top of net worth. He has his Cloak of Flames completed already, but he doesn't really have the next tier of items yet. Doesn't really do too much damage. He's just a giant meat shield for now. But compared to the Lady Sun, who's already at 7.2k net worth, that is a huge lead there for the Lady Sun.
Oh, the Resplendent Revolver right into ABH. He dashes away the mirror domain. He just finally gets picked off, and Xiaolin will get credit for this one. And Impunity actually deserved that. That was a long-awaited ambush by them.
Yeah, that was super fast. That was super fast play as well. Getting that might enable them to get this mid tier 1 tower to open up the map a little bit towards their favor. Princess Frost drops. Winter is coming on towards the tower to try and ensure they get it, but looks like the Zhang Fei will be able to dissuade by on the top lane. Tempest playing the macro game very well, almost pushing down the top tier 3 tower by himself, but he is in trouble. Can he get out? He does still have his ultimate to get out of here if he wants to. Pops it right now. The chase is coming on. Or is there backup coming? No, there's no backup. He's trying to survive on his own, but the damage from Ushing way too much, and he will fall.
Yeah, I mean, this is the risk you take when you try to split push. Tempest was putting pressure on that top T3, and he did quite a bit of damage. It's down about to, like, what, 20% life already? So he's kind of created space for the rest of the team, for Loops again to just kind of push in the other lanes, and now it looks like they're going to look to take the Overlord here by Impunity. So a little bit of space given, some other space taken away from elsewhere.
It's going to be an even trade for the jungle objectives. Tyrant is going to provide you damage, while the Shadow Vanguard is going to help Impunity repair these lanes, especially towards the top lane. You got to make sure to buy as much time as possible towards the top so that they don't lose more real estate and become harder to defend their jungle.
Okay, and that was a pretty good sequence of events for Impunity, right? The fact that they got the Overlord, they got ABH, they turned it also into a Tempest kill, and they've gotten that T1, right? Yes, they're still behind in terms of the net worth, but these are small steps, baby steps to get themselves back in the game. Impunity have done some decent things in the past 3 to 4 minutes, so they're giving themselves a chance to win.
Yeah, definitely. They are not forcing the issue like they did in the first game, so this is already in a much better spot for them. But here's trying to backdoor the tower. Will get the last hit, so that's going to be the first tier 3 going down. Also, the Shadow Vanguard is going to fall soon after, basically without doing anything at all. So Loops is still in a good position nonetheless. They are still 4,000 ahead and looking to take more real estate away. But the Jing finishes off Axe Hero. He's gonna fall, and Impunity will not be able to take the upcoming fight. They lose the mid tier to tier 1 tower, and more of their buffs going towards the way of Loops.
Yeah, and this net worth lead is like grown, right? It's 4K right now, but let me just say Sherry actually has a net worth lead of 2K above any other player from Impunity. That's how far ahead he is right now. He's absolutely a monster. You go near him, he blows it up. He backdoors your tower because he has the damage. He don't care. He's 10.4. Look at this. And then next closest, Shaolin, 8.3, well behind Sherry right now.
Yeah, Sherry has been playing like an absolute beast for both these games, in fact. And when you give the Lady Sun this much farm this early, you know that you're in trouble. And Sherry has been absolutely killing it in this game and the previous game as well.
Yeah, and I mean, the team only has 5 kills, right? Sherry has one of those kills, but, you know, ABH has been doing all of the work, so to speak, in terms of the kill department, you know, 4-2-0. So, again, both of these guys really working off each other, complementing their own play styles to get themselves in this, and they have full control. Luke's right now, fully dominant. Impunity have 0 space to work with.
Yeah, they are more or less holed up in their base. Anytime somebody goes out, then they are in danger. ABH took a bit of damage from the Lady Frost, from the Princess Frost, as well as the Marco Polo. Nothing he can't heal up away from, as Loops poised to try and pressure on both sides. That's going to be the mid and the bottom. And once they connect the creep waves, they might be able to slowly chip away at the tier 3s.
Look at how they've controlled the map. They've got full control, and they just pushed him out. They've got all the way in the front. Mithy is in the front lines. He's like your scout, your forward scout, seeing where the enemy is at all points. And like the minions are just coming out of the base right now. So again, Loops can continue to push. Impunity, on the other hand, all 5 of them sticking together, holding hands, pushing out, and just trying to clear their own jungle. And Black so scared he can't even face check that bush. So again, Impunity right now very reactive to Loops' movements across the map.
Yeah, and if you're reacting, you're always going to be 1 step slower than your opponent. So Impunity needs to pull out a rabbit from the hat here to try and get a favorable fight going towards them, where they are able to secure the win for that fight in particular. But the Tyrant does go towards the way of Loops, and we might see a high ground attempt with this buff.
Okay, the rabbit that's being pulled out of the hat, is it worth 6K net worth? Because I don't think that's going to help them. That's not enough, right? They need more. They need like multiple rabbits at this point.
Or they're going to need a bigger hat.
No, a bigger hat. Or just a fatter rabbit. Is that what it is? All right, but Loops here continuing to just dominate. They've got a 6K net worth lead, pushing it across. Xiaolin is going to recall back to safety. These Drakes are starting to push. And again, it's just they've slowed it down. Loops have nothing to do. Like, they don't need to force the issue. They have plenty of time. They have full control. They just find that pickoff. Impunity gets out of position with one guy. They turn it into a 5 vs 4. Loops can then just end the game.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what the Loops is trying to do right now. They know that they're stronger at this point, so they want a strength test. They want to take it away from Impunity. They don't want to give them more time to recover. And Am trying to end this game right here and now. Bottom lane got pushed out a little bit, so Elaine's there to fix it. But once the next dragon arrives, that should be the last tier 3 tower standing. Jing also trying to steal the blue jungle buff. It has not spawned, so he has to play without it for a little bit. But once those dragons reach, that's where your tier 3s. Oh, Jing going towards the back line. So much damage towards the Princess Frost, but he manages to stay alive for the moment.
Oh, stays for the moment, but he's going to be down. Ashing is going to be the first to fall. ABH will get yet another kill, rack him up. And it looks like Mithy will go into Unbridled Ferali form. He's going to just kind of create the path. They've already got all of the T3s. It is a matter of time. But it looks like Loops have made the call. They're going to regroup and come back to fight yet another day.
3 to 6 in terms of score. It is still possible for Impunity to come back from this game. The lead is not insurmountable. It's about 8,000 difference at the moment. But without those tier 3s, it also means the creep waves are constantly being pushed out to the front of your base, and you're not going to extend on that lead without making a huge team fight happening anytime soon.
Yeah, and Sherry here, 14.1k net worth. And then 13.6 by ABH. Oh my gosh, those guys are literally the 1%, right? They're super rich.
Yeah, that's all down to just the tempo that Loops had for the entire game. They had, what, 6 kills in total? Only two of them were at the 10-minute mark, if I remember correctly. But they've set themselves in a position where they can really take these fights. And Impunity still trying to catch up, still trying to play the macro game against Sucker players. Oh, what is this? What is this wraparound?
Chasing out Xiaolin. He's going to be chased. The meteor kill knocks him up. But oh, Tempest needs to be careful. He's going to be focused down. He's going to be the first to fall. But the base is wide open. Nice play by Ashing, trying to slow it down. But the base is going to be taken out, and Loops will just take him out. And they will take game 2.
Clean game here from Loops. Again, another one of those games where you really can't find any fault in Loops' gameplay. It's like they played standard. They played, how you expect a team to play at this highest level.